Mr. Tulsian, for what would you do with a stock like HDIL now? I mean, the stock is down about 10% reacting to the numbers. But there has been some amount of good news in the past couple of months where they have, seen some new launches, etc. in Mulund. So at least the pace of good news has improved. Would you recommend any buying at these lower levels, or would you stay away because of how volatile the numbers have been in the past?
See, Sonia, I'll keep my positive stance on the stock. If you just go by this 442 crore, which Ekta has just now narrated, the unsubstantiated claim of the, firstly, market doesn't know that what are the terms between the Mumbai International and the HDIL for this entire property, what kind of agreement it has been executed, what is the profit sharing, what are the terms and all sort of things. So maybe, when such a big land parcel and, you are bound to see the dispute happening in that front, and that will be a big source of TD. The moment they shift about 25,000 families to this their Vidya Vihar complex, they will get a huge TDR which can give them a good amount of realizations once they start selling that, because now the development plans are everything is in place, so they will be able to monetize it. I don't think that this litigation between the Mumbai International can really prolong for a very long time, because even GVK Group is under the dire stress of finance, and they are in need of funds and all that. So I am keeping my positive stance, honestly, because but for this 442 crores, there is nothing negative in the financials, except that the top line has not come, which has because of monetizations of the FSI and TDR by the company. So I am keeping my positive stance on the stock. In fact, this should be used as an entry point. As such, I have been keeping my positive stance on all the real estate stocks. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Tulsian, you look at fertilizers very closely. What do you think has plagued NFL this quarter?
It's difficult to comment, unless until you really see the results, because three of their plants which are operating on naphtha have really been struggling. So I don't know whether they have really been functional or not. So one has to really, in fact, look the entire this one. I am not too impressed with the financial performance of this company as such also. Yeah.
Mr. Tulsian, what about you? What would you be recommending possibly to initiate in the next 30 minutes?
See, one long call, one short call. The kind of beating which we have seen in HDIL probably, gives a short-term opportunity. Maybe people have, seeing the results that there is a loss of about 250 crore. And they must have, they generally go short. But I think maybe in the next half an hour, you are going to see the short covering coming in, which can make the stock to move to a level of 49 with a stop loss of 46. And so that's a buy call, And second stock is a sell call on financial technology. And I'm seeing the weakness, likely to come in this stock in the remaining part. In fact, the stock, the counter is struggling a lot. And, one can look for a target of 820 with stop loss of 833.
Mr. Tulsian, Coal India is seeing a second day of an up move today. What would the recommendation be over there? What kind of target price do you have on the stock?
See, Sonia, yesterday we have discussed that, that the results have been very good, and yesterday I gave a target of 325, 326. But looking to the overhang of the OFS, I don't think that one can really take a long-term positive call on the stock, because I don't see it really moving beyond 335, 340. And, again, we may swiftly see, though the company has, raised the prices of the lower quality of the coal, and they have reduced the high-grade quality, maybe with a calorific value of 6400 kilocalorie. But still, if you see overall, they will stand to gain by the higher realization by about maybe 2.5 to 3%, which will increase their profitability in FY14. Plus, they are targeting to breach the 500 million ton of the production mark. Also, everything is there in the place, but still, the overhang of OFS, the kind of news if we start seeing from the government that they are considering that, maybe in the tranches, which is likely to happen, that is imminent for the government to take that OFS forward. I don't think that much upside is seen in the stock, maybe beyond 335.
Okay. Mr. Tulsian, how would you approach a name like DLF? It announces its numbers tomorrow. The stock was the flavor of the month in the month of February and March after the aggressive guidance that the management laid out. But since then, it's come off a whole lot. What is the expectation this quarter?
See, Sonia, I have not taken a call on the results, and it is better that we remain little cautious, because for these real estate companies, even if you get to hear that on the ground the company has been making good sales of their upcoming projects, but those things are not getting reflected into the accounts because of the threshold of 25% project completion, and then only they can really go ahead and book the income in the P&L. We have seen that, we have heard that from DB Realty, or maybe with some other companies like Peninsula, where since they held back the sale of the completed portion. So maybe some caution can be taken ahead of the results, but I am keeping the positive stance. And as you have rightly said, the stock has corrected from 245 to the level of 210. In fact, that 240 245 used to be the strong level at which it used to really trade. So maybe the correction, suppose for some reason if the results disappoint and stock corrects to a level of 205, or even if it doesn't correct, remains at this level, probably one can take a long position for June series on the stock.
Tulsian, the day doesn't seem to be over, because we have a load of numbers which are still expected post markets. Tata Motors, ONGC, BPCL, NMDC, all of these. Which one would your pick be for tomorrow in terms of a result reaction on the upside or the downside?
See, one has to keep a view on ONGC, that what kind of results they perform, number one, and second is the Tata Motor from the front line, because both will really be the traders' stock, which can be seen by them. But the few mid cap stocks, like which I will be closely keeping an eye on, will be JK Lakshmi Cement, Anantraj Industries, and maybe some these two in the mid cap or small cap stocks. Yeah.
But Mr. Tulsian, in general, what is your view on the infrastructure space? I mean, today we've seen quite a bit of a downtick over there. Any buy recommendations you would have now, or would you leave that space aside completely?
See, maybe Sonia, from a short-term point of view, one can look for few ideas, in the very low price stocks, and that is, one is NCC and second is IRB Infra. Maybe these two stocks can be looked into, but with a view of about maybe 2 to 4 weeks, where one can, again, because it is always been safer to buy them when they correct, because you don't have too much negative, bias building upon these stocks, and whenever the market stabilizes, or whenever, you have the dull and boring day, these stocks sometimes, starts moving up. So maybe Nagarjuna Construction and IRB Infra can be kept on the radar. Yeah.
And you were also talking about something like a financial technology some time ago, and we did see a big run-up yesterday, but today we have seen some bit of pressure. Do you expect this pressure to continue? Because there were reports that stated that it was a buy at one particular stage. Deutsche Bank, for one, does have a buy on this particular stock. So where exactly do you expect this to settle down?
See, Nigel, if you take a long-term view, I don't know whether there was, because always if you go by the research report, and obviously the view is of 12 months or so, and within that time horizon, the stock has the upside potential to maybe, to move a level of 950 to 1000. But if you take a short-term view of maybe 15 to 20 days, we have been seeing that, in fact, for last 1 month, that stock suddenly, goes up by 4-5%, then, we see the trading positions start building up, which swiftly gets again, corrected by the form of the profit booking. So maybe that process is likely to continue. We may again see the stock getting corrected to about 800 rupees in the near term, and then that could be a good entry point. So keep a range of 800 to 805 as a buying level, and look to exit at a level of 850 and above. Yeah.